Hello everyone, in today's video we're going to be taking a look at some list operations in Python. Now it's worth noting here that you probably have wanted to see the last video, list basics, and there'll be some things probably in that video I should have done in this video, and some things in this video I should have done in that, but hey, it doesn't matter, it'll all work out fine in the end. So let's go ahead and start by creating ourselves a list. I'm going to create a thing called models. I'm going to go ahead and put some models into it. I'll do Cessna 152. I'll do helps if you do it in the correct order. I'll do a Cessna 172. I'll do a Cessna 182. Believe it or not, I've flown all of these. Now we're going to get into the ones I haven't flown on. We'll do a Cessna 206. And for science, we'll do a Cessna 337 because reasons. Now, in this list right here, we have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 total elements. Now, one of the things we might need to do with a list is we might need to actually take this list and we might need to combine it with another list. So let's say I create a models 2 list here, and I want to add these two lists to each other. Let's see here. What else can we add for Cessna? The real question is, how obscure do I want to go? We'll add the 162, the Skycatcher, which nobody knows, the 177, of course. Let's see here. What should we do? We'll do the 207. Oh, we should probably be consistent here. Cessna 207, and we'll do Cessna 208. Why not? We invented a brand new one there. Cool. Let's see. We need to put a little C in front of it and a little C in front of it. Delightful. So what we want to do is we want to combine both of these lists together. Now, you're sitting here going, don't you have to get each item individually by index? Nah. Python makes it easy. So models combined equals models plus models 2. Now, the cool thing here is if I now print models, I'll go ahead and pop that real quickly there, and run my code, what you will notice in the bottom is that it is not going to be a complete list. As a matter of fact, if you take a look at this here, you'll notice that I printed models. What we wanted to do is print models combined. See how that works? If I run it now, you will observe that my new list contains every single one of these Cessna models that I could come up with in 5 seconds or less, including one that I'm pretty sure I made up here. So what we're going to do now is, this is pretty good. I like this. Let's go ahead and clean this list up a little bit here. We'll go ahead and take models combined. We'll do .sort just to make it a little bit prettier. Again, just to kind of clean my little list up before we do some real damage to it today. Give that a run. It's going to get all grumpy at me because I forgot something. Yeah, it's model underscore combined. Exactly, all fixed. So we've got that all set. We've got our models combined. We're printing it out, and they're a nice numerical order, more or less, because we took the time to go ahead and get this done pretty good. Now, this is a pretty good example of just kind of fiddling with lists, but sometimes you want to do other things with lists. Let's say I want to make a copy of this list, and I want to do it with something else. So we'll call extra list here, just for example. I'll say extra list equals models combined. Now, this is when your Python foo will start to fail you a little bit here. You're sitting here saying, all right, models combined, extra list becomes models combined. Well, that makes sense. So let's go print extra list real quickly here. So I'll come in here and print my extra list. I'll put the little space after it, make Python happy, run my code, and you're like, yes, everything worked perfectly. Except one of the fun things with lists in Python is they all point towards the original list unless you make a deep copy. But what we actually did is create what they call a shallow copy of the list. And because we made a shallow copy, anything that changes in my original list will be reflected in my new list. Ready to hurt your brain a little bit here? Watch this. So I'm going to take extra list, and I'm going to pop the last element out of it. And then I'm going to go ahead and print both lists, my combined lists. And I'm also going to print my extra list. And there's something you're going to observe. Press play. You will observe that my combined list no longer has the last element. We knocked this 337 off of it. You will also notice my extra list has also lost that element. It is very important to remember in Python that if I set a list into itself like this, you're just basically creating another name for the original list. That doesn't work well for us sometimes. Sometimes we legitimately want a copy of everything in the list to do our own work to it. We don't want to basically point, if you want to think about it another way, to the original list. This is one of those nice little traps a lot of people fall for that you have to be very cautious with. So let's go ahead and give ourselves a little bit of room here. Deep copy of list. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. There, sweet. So what we're going to do is we're going to take it and we're going to create models. I'm going to call it Cessna models this time. And I'm going to set equals models combined dot copy. And with this, we'll get to count later. And what we're going to do is we're going to make a copy of that list. Now, the cool thing here is if I actually were to go into that and say Cessna underscore models dot remove, let's get rid of the Skycatcher. Let's be serious. Who actually bought a Skycatcher? And then if we go ahead and print our two lists here, we'll do models combined again. But we'll also do our Cessna models list here. There we are. Now, if I were to run this, you'll observe something new. You will see that models combined does not contain the 337 because we deleted it, remember? But what you'll also observe is my copied list that I made on line 24 here does not contain that element, and it did no damage to the original list. That's going to be one of those things that you have to be extra careful of, because a lot of people do like mastermind games and stuff. And when they build a mastermind game, they forget when they get rid of the color red that you are actually just getting rid of it from the original list or the original data. So you want to be very, very cautious with that when you are doing any sort of work here. So let me go ahead and leave yourself a note real quickly here. This is a shallow copy of list. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just reminding you that you have to be very, very cautious when you're making copies. That you really, really, if you want a copy, get a copy. If you just want another alias for it, get yourself another alias for it, kind of thing like that. Now, the next thing we're going to go ahead and take a look at is some really, really useful tools built into lists to make your life a little bit simpler. So let's go ahead and create ourselves another list here. Usually I go with colors. I'll go with colors today again. We'll mix it up a little bit. We'll do cyan, yellow, because reasons. Magenta, and of course black. That seems pretty good to me. So this list here, I'm going to go ahead and now create a little divider here. We can see has 4 elements in it. Wouldn't it be nice if we had a tool that could go ahead and determine if something is inside of the list? We do. So one of the things we can do is we can build ourselves a really simple if statement. We can say if, we'll pick cyan in colors, print, we'll get old school here. So we'll just say cyan. We'll need an F string here. Cyan is in the list. Else, print, cyan is not in the list. Now, this in command is awesome because it will determine if this exact precise element exists within my list. So if I were to actually sit here and run this real quick, you will see here that cyan is in the list because cyan, the string, is indeed in the list called colors. Now, if I went cyan spacebar and ran this one again, you will observe cyan is not in the list. I know that hurts your mind a little bit, but that's one of the downsides and upsides of computer programming is precision counts. So it's really important that we're very specific of it. So this is a very, very quick and easy way to determine something is in the list. This is actually one of my favorite ways to make sure when somebody enters a command, they don't accidentally enter a command that does not make sense. You just pop that in command in there and it basically will take care of that for you right away, which is pretty darn cool. What else can we do with lists? Well, we can do a lot of fun things with lists. One of the goofiest things we can do with lists is this one. So let's say I want to go ahead and say colors equals colors times 2. Oh, you're saying, whoa, 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 whoa. What is this? What is this? What is this? You can see that I have now doubled the length of my list. Cyan, yellow, magenta, black, cyan, yellow, magenta, black. I can actually take a list and double its size by multiplying. I know your brain is going, can I divide it by 2? That's later. Give me a minute. Give me a minute. We're not doing division. Don't try it. But I will get to that in a minute. So we can actually double, basically it's called repetition operator if you want the fancy term for it, what is inside of a list. Another thing we can do too is we can count things inside of a list. So one of the cool ways we can do this, for example, is let's see if we want to determine how many times black shows up in our little doubled list here. The way this works is pretty easy. We're simply going to do print colors.count. And we're simply going to say how many, what we're looking for here. In this case, I think we said black as our example. So now if I run my code real quick, you will notice in the bottom, it says 2, because 2 exists twice in my list. Remember, it's my super duper list here. It's not my original list that I have up here. Now, if I say a green, for example, and go ahead and run that code again, I'll press play, you'll notice it'll give me a value of 0, which is one of the cool little things that we can do inside of a list, which I think is really neat. Now, sometimes when you're working with lists, you want to determine how many elements are inside of a list. The way we do that is with the len command, and this is a really, really, really helpful command. I'll show you why. Let's say we want to get how many items are in my color list. If I do len, parenthesis, colors. What this will do is this will determine how many elements are inside of this list, and it will now print that value to the screen. If I were to hit play, you will see 8. That checks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, your brain is immediately going, wait. There's 8 items, but the last item in the list is item 7. Yes, that is a common mistake people make when they're trying to make lists. And we'll take a look at that problem in a few moments here when we start playing around a little bit more with the actual getting into the list itself. Now, the last thing we're going to take out with lists, and again, there are other methods that are very, very useful, is going to be slicing a list into smaller pieces. Now, if you remember, we have this really, really big list here that now consists of 8 different items in it. Wouldn't it be nice if we could get a certain number of items inside of that list? The answer is yes, we can absolutely do that. So let's go ahead and here do list slicing because it makes it easy. Now, the way we do this is with the colon operator. So for example, let's say I want to make a smaller list, small colors equals colors. And what we're going to do is use the bracket, and we're going to define the range of the items in the list we want. These must be integers, by the way. So for example, if I wanted the first item in the list, I'd put a 0, colon, and then I would say up to what range that I'd like. Now watch what happens when I do a 2 here. Print small colors. Remember, this is going to be a slice of my bigger list here. What you'll notice is we only get cyan and yellow. Your brain is going, but you said 2. Remember, like I was saying before, when you deal with ranges in Python, it's always going to be 1 less. This is actually a very, very good thing for us, because if I were to dial in the length of the list, for example, it's not going to explode on you when it tries to get item 8, as an example. Now, this little functionality is actually really, really, really powerful, because we can now do things like this. We could say small colors equals colors, and I could even go really, really goofy. I could say 3 colon minus 1. Now, if I were to go print this, watch this. Run that sucker, you'll see that it gets me the last 4 items in our list. Now, if you remember a little while ago, we saw this -1 when we were dealing with the indexes of lists. We are allowed to do silly things like this. Now, you're like, I like this. Okay, this slicing's pretty straightforward. Get goofy. All right, let's say we want to take our list. Now, remember, our list consists of these elements right now. Let's say we want to go ahead and get the list up to a specific element. Uh-oh, how are we going to do that? Well, if you remember, we have the ability to get the index of an element. So let's see if we can figure that x. And we'll call it inx of, this could be 182 here, equals, let's see, we get our original list here. What's our monster list called here? Oh, we had Cessna models. Well, we took one, Skycatchers out. Let's see here. We'll do, we'll get Cessna models. I think that's what we call it. Yeah, Cessna models. Cessna models dot index of Cessna 182. Now, what this is going to do is this is going to give us the index. That's its address of this element when it discovers it inside the list. So now if I want airplanes to 182, that's such an ugly, ugly thing here. I'll do airplanes to Skylane. That feels a little bit more normal to me. I can now say, let's see here, Cessna models dot, square, 0, colon, inx of Cessna 182, which would be the index of Cessna 182. Now, here's where the problem begins. Let's see if you pick it up before I display it on the screen. Let's run my code here. You'll notice my Cessna 182 is nowhere to be seen, even though I split the list very neatly. The reason for that is because remember this little issue with the 1 less? If we actually wanted the Cessna 182, we'd have to actually add 1 to it. So if I run this now, you'll see that Cessna 182 appears on our list because we made sure that we called it to that extra little range modification there. Now, the one last thing we're going to go ahead and take a look at in lists is how to clean out a list completely. The simplest way to do this is the clear command. So if I, for example, wanted to clear out my entire small colors list, I'd simply type small colors dot clear. The moment you execute this code, you will have deleted all the elements of small colors. So if I actually come in here and I'll print small colors, just for the purposes of making sure that you understand it, you will notice it is an empty list, even though it was originally going to be containing those specific elements that you can see inside there. So as you can see, lists are a very, very, very powerful tool inside Python, and they give you a lot of different capabilities. And by using some very, very basic little simple commands here, we can actually do a lot of work on a list for the purposes of creating it. Enjoy.